9 mantras which I'm giving you will clearly give you as to how you should take things forward from here, right? The 9 mantras are this. While you're pitching, always start with a past conversation. What I mean by past conversation here is that maybe you may come across as two sort of situations. The first could be is that you're meeting the client for the first time. And the second scenario could be that you have already met them and now it's again like the second or the third meeting which is happening now. Now, you may say, Harish, in the first instance, when I'm meeting the client for the first time, how can I talk or how should I can start with something called the past conversation? Now, here what I mean by past conversation is that how did they approach? What is the medium through which they approached you, right? Now, if they had probably reached out through your website or through your campaigns which you had run, maybe that could be the starting point to say that, Kisa, we did got your inquiry through this and hence we are connecting with you. Now, in the another situation where you already have met the client for a couple of times, you could start by saying that in the last meeting, we discussed these things and hence, are we aligned? Do we move forward from there? So that's what it means to say. So now what happens is when you start the conversation, you are in the same page. It's not the case that the client is still sticking at the back and then you are probably moving ahead. It's not the case like. So that's what it means here. Therefore, past conversation in place. Make sure that you set the agenda for the present meeting. You don't want the client to be staying in the earlier state of his. You want him to graduate. So you set the agenda for the present meeting. Open the session, of course, with a big question. A question which provokes people to think about. A question which makes the client say, oh, this is something which I was probably looking at or wanting to look at, or maybe, yes, this is something which was actually going in my mind. So you need to open the question, in fact, the session with a big question. That's what it means here. Adapt the pitch and the presentation to the prospect's need. Now, based on the conversation, based on the development which is happening there, the discussions progressing, you need to adapt your pitch and presentation accordingly. So that is one. Make sure that you always have a story to talk. Whatever you are trying to put across, if it can be put in the form of let's say an example, in the form of a solution, in the form of a story, the job becomes much more easier. So show them as that what is that they would be gaining out of this, etc. Right? The fifth, try and make sure that you do talk about benefits, but more important is the usefulness as to why they should choose you is what you should probably highlight here. That's the most important factor. You could validate your pitch through in the form of certain amount of data which you could put across. You could tell them that these are our what you call, let's say, the credentials in which we have managed to do the job successfully. But however, even now also you are not going about disclosing the price. Please understand one thing is in this entire process, in the entire journey, I have never spoken about how do we introduce the price. Let the situation come where the client says to you, okay, tell me, I've understood everything well. What is the price you can give it to me? What's the offer is there for me, is what it is. Converse with the audience, not only in the form of being conducive, but yes, in the form of such that the client feels that he wants to work more with you, is what it is, right? So all this, if you could do well, there's all possibility that you could see a greater transformation happening down. And take them finally to ask the price for you. Make sure that they ask now the price for. If you have done all these 8 points correct, to a large extent you will realize that the client wants to now work with you. So create a situation where the client feels that yes, I would like to know about the price and hence want to work with you. That's what it means here, right?